Imagine waking up in a small college town where nothing ever happens, only to learn that 4 young students have been brutally murdered inside their own home. No forced entry, no weapon recovered, just blood, fear, and silence. On November 13, 2022, Moscow, Idaho turned into a nightmare that America would never forget. The victims were all friends, laughing, posting on social media, and planning their futures just hours before their lives were stolen. Police called it one of the most complex and horrifying cases in state history. But the real terror wasn't just the murders, it was the mystery. Who could enter a house full of people, kill 4, and vanish without a trace? November 12, 2022, Moscow, Idaho. It was a Saturday night, and the college town buzzed with the usual energy. Bars were crowded, students laughed under the neon lights, and at a 3-story house on King Road, 6 friends prepared for another weekend together. Kaylee Goncalves and her best friend Madison Mogen had gone out to a local bar. Xana Kernodle and her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin, attended a fraternity party nearby. 2 other roommates who lived in the basement stayed in for the night. It was normal, safe, nothing unusual. By 1:30 a.m., Kaylee and Madison grabbed food from a food truck, captured on livestream, smiling, completely unaware that it would be the last footage of them alive. Around the same time, Xana and Ethan returned from the fraternity. By 4 a.m., everyone was home. The lights in the house dimmed, silence covered the street, but someone else was there. According to investigators, an intruder slipped inside the house. No forced entry, no broken glass. Armed with a fixed-blade knife, the figure moved through the dark hallways. One by one, he attacked. Police later described the scene as the most gruesome crime Moscow had ever witnessed. Blood seeped through the walls, and yet 2 roommates on the lower floor survived unharmed, though one claimed to hear faint crying and footsteps that night. Still, no one called the police until nearly noon the next day. At 11:58 a.m., a panicked 911 call was made from one of the surviving roommates' phones. Officers rushed to the house, only to find 4 young lives brutally taken, dreams cut short, futures destroyed. The entire town of Moscow fell into fear. Students packed their bags and left for home, terrified the killer was still on the loose. Rumors spread. Was it a stalker, a jealous ex, a random madman? For weeks, there were no answers. Police urged calm but gave little information. Every headline carried the same haunting phrase, "Killer still at large." But investigators were quietly piecing together a trail of evidence: surveillance footage, cell phone records, and one suspicious car that would eventually lead them to a shocking suspect. The murders sent shockwaves through Idaho for weeks. Students avoided campus at night, doors stayed locked, and the once lively town felt like a ghost city. Yet the police seemed to have no answers. The killer had left behind no weapon, no fingerprints, and no obvious motive. But then teeny pieces of the puzzle began to surface. Detectives reviewed hours of surveillance footage from neighborhoods around King Road at 3:45 a.m. Multiple cameras caught sight of a white Hyundai Elantra driving back and forth near the victim's house. The car circled the block again and again, almost as if waiting for the right moment. At the same time, FBI analysts dug into cell phone data. A particular number stood out. Its owner's phone had pinged near the victim's house on multiple occasions any weeks before the murders, as if someone had been watching them, studying them. Then came the chilling detail from one surviving roommate. She recalled waking in the night to the sound of crying. Opening her bedroom door, she saw a tall man, clad in black, with bushy eyebrows, moving swiftly toward the exit. He didn't notice her, or chose to leave her alive. These fragments began pointing toward one man, Bryan Kohberger, a 28-year-old criminology PhD student living in Pullman, Washington, just 10 miles away. He studied serial killers, criminal behavior, and profiling. He taught students about crime, while allegedly planning one himself. But suspicion wasn't enough. Investigators needed proof. Police quietly tracked him, collecting DNA from his family's trash in Pennsylvania, where Bryan had driven after the murders. The results shocked even the most seasoned detectives. A near-perfect DNA match connected him to a sheath left at the crime scene lying beside the bodies, almost like a calling card. Still, the FBI watched, waiting for the right moment. In late December, more than a month after the murders, Bryan was stopped twice by police while driving with his father across the country. Each time he appeared calm, avoiding any sign of panic, but the walls were closing in. On December 30th, 2022, a SWAT team stormed his parents' home at 1 a.m. Bryan Kohberger was arrested, accused of murdering the 4 University of Idaho students. The nation gasped. How could a criminology student, someone who studied justice, allegedly commit such horror? The arrest of Bryan Kohberger stunned the world. A 28-year-old PhD student in criminology, someone obsessed with criminal minds, was now accused of committing one of the most brutal crimes in American history. Investigators revealed chilling details. Bryan had applied for an internship with local police, writing that he wanted to help rural law enforcement understand how criminals think. He had studied under famous professors, asking questions about how killers chose their victims. To many it looked less like research and more like preparation. In court, prosecutors laid out the evidence. The DNA on the knife sheath, the white Hyundai Elantra caught on surveillance, and cell phone data showing he was near the victim's home dozens of times before the murders, almost like a hunter tracking his prey. Yet Bryan maintained his innocence. His defense argued that DNA could have been transferred. The car sightings were circumstantial, and the surviving roommate's description was vague. But to the families of Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan, one thing was clear: justice had to be served. The trial date loomed, but the case raised terrifying questions. Why did he do it? Was it random, or was he targeting someone inside that house? Why spare the 2 roommates? And how many times had he rehearsed this moment in his twisted mind? Even more chilling digital records suggested Bryan might have been following Kaylee on social media, liking her photos, and watching her life unfold before taking it away. Today, the University of Idaho house on King Road stands empty, a haunting reminder of that November night. Many students refuse to walk near it. Families of the victims still attend hearings, their faces a mix of grief and determination. The world is still waiting for final answers. Was this the work of a cold-blooded killer who believed he was smarter than everyone else? Or is there something more we haven't uncovered? One thing is certain: the Idaho College murders will go down as one of the darkest, most haunting cases in American true crime history.